Hi, I'm Sides. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about something very important. This might be my most important video. We're going to be talking about something that most of us want and most of us need. Unless you invested $1,000 in Bitcoin in 2014, you are probably not a millionaire and you are probably searching for financial and creative freedom. I spent a long time searching for financial and creative freedom, but during that time, I had worked many jobs in the music industry. And today I want to talk about money transparency because I want to share how much I've made from each of these jobs. The reason I'm making this video is not to brag, although doesn't matter, haters will say I did something wrong no matter what. But I'm making this video because I really believe money transparency is important. Because how else are you going to know what is possible, how much you can make, and how much you can charge? So let's get into it. When I first graduated from Berklee College of Music, I graduated as a major in vocal performance. I think I got my bachelor's of music. And I had no idea how I was going to make money. So my first job out of college was singing on cruise ships. I found the job on Playbill.com. They asked me to record a video of 10 different songs, 30 seconds each, covering music from the 1940s to today. It was so awkward. Here's a little clip of the video.
You give me fever when you kiss me.
But it got me the job. When I applied for the job, they listed the pay for $900 a month, and I had to sign up for a 9-month contract, which is like a lifetime on a ship. However, I would have taken it because I was so broke and desperate, and I really just wanted a singing job. Plus, I was very attracted to the idea of getting to travel all over the world. However, I ended up landing a much better gig for $3,600 a month, and I only had to commit to about 4 months on the ship. But this is 4 months of singing every single night, 3 to 5 hours a day, which is a lot of singing. However, it really kind of felt like boot camp for me because it is where I truly learned how to sing. Here are some clips of me singing on the ship.
Set me free. You told me you were always gonna be darling. I knew that your plans to make me blue with some other guy you knew before. Between the two of us guys.
So this is a great job. Room and board is included. I got to travel all over the world. Here you can see me in Antarctica, and you can see me in Asia. You can see me with an elephant. But the downside is that it is not as glamorous as it sounds. You have crew drill. Here's a picture of me in crew drill. You have cabin inspection. You have random duties. I even had to wake up in the morning at 7 a.m. to help passengers put on life jackets before they went off into Antarctica. But overall, it was an amazing experience. It's just not something that I wanted to do forever. And believe it or not, some of the people I worked with all of those years ago are still working on cruise ships. Okay, so then I moved back to New York City and I did a lot of work as a singer. One of the gigs I did was working at nursing homes for $100 an hour. These gigs were very special. I will always have such fond memories of these gigs. The residents were so appreciative, even when they didn't look like they were having a good time because they probably weren't feeling well because they were just so old. Afterwards, they would come up to me and say, "Thank you so much, you made my day." And it was a really awesome gig. Yes, it did pay pretty well, $100 for an hour, but it was only 1 hour of work, and I would have to spend like an hour or an hour and a half on the train just getting to the gig. So it was like a whole schlep to get to the gig for just $100. But yeah, I really did love that gig and I'm so grateful I got to do that one. Next up is singing at bars and clubs. I sang in bars and clubs in New York City. Here are some clips of me singing in a 90s cover band at Webster Hall. And for these gigs, I would make anywhere from $100 to $250 for either a 2-hour to a 4-hour gig. It was a lot of fun, but it was also a little bit sad. Some of the musicians I worked with were kind of stuck in quote unquote pretend rock star phase. which I guess makes sense because you're kind of playing the part, but they took it a little too far and were just doing a lot of drugs and drinking a lot. I myself was drinking way too much on some of these gigs, which I am completely sober now, by the way. It was a little depressing because I was like, we are not rock stars. We are so far from rock stars. We are playing at a bar for drunk people. I really did have a lot of fun performing, but I really didn't want to get stuck in these type of gigs. Also, they were sometimes really late at night, and now I like to go to bed at like 9:30. Like a grandma. Also really fortunate that I was able to get paid to do this. Okay, next up is singing in casinos. This is something I did once I moved to Las Vegas. The casino life is great because it's kind of like a cruise ship, except you live on land. So you're not bound and stuck on a tin vessel with whoever else is stuck on the tin vessel. Honestly, looking back, I wish I moved to Las Vegas sooner. You can gig here most nights of the week and make kind of like the same thing I would make at the bars in New York City, anywhere from $100 to $250. But the rent here is like significantly cheaper. So you can rent a house with some friends and only have to pay a couple $100s a month. And that's what's really cool about Las Vegas. So if you really want to jump from the ship life to land life, you can just live in Vegas and do that. And here's a couple clips of me singing in a duo in a band in Las Vegas.
They always wanna come, but they never wanna leave my head. Saying, they haunt me. Like, they want me to make they won't let go. X's and O's.
When I was in New York City, my highest paying cover band was singing in a wedding band. I first started out as a sub, and when you start out as subbing, it kind of sucks because you feel like a gig junkie. Someone would call you, a couple hours before the gig, like, hey, Sabrina, can you come and do this gig? And of course, you have to drop everything and do it because it's the difference if you're making a couple $100s or not. And I needed to pay my rent and I had such little money that, of course, I was like, sorry, whatever I'm doing, I have to go get my gown and run to a wedding. But I sang in wedding bands. So when I was starting as a sub, I would make $300. And then once I got in a regular band, I ended up making anywhere from $600 to even up to $850 a gig, depending on the gig. We played some high profile weddings. And the band that I was in that band for like 6 years. And it was an incredible band. They were 14-piece, I think, full horn section, amazing arrangements. I just had so much fun in that band. It was great pay. The downside was the gigs were only on Saturdays, 25 to 40 dates a year. So you couldn't do that full time. You had to have something else going on. And the other problem is, again, it would take so long to get to the gigs. Sometimes they would be in the city. There was one time where I could like walk to the gig, but most of the time it would be like in Long Island, Philadelphia, Vermont. And I was just running around to these gigs. It would be like an all-day thing, Saturdays, sometimes Fridays, sometimes Sundays, but mostly on Saturdays. And then the next day, I'd be so tired. But here are some clips of me in the wedding band. Also, these weddings were like the 1% of society. You can see some pictures here. The flowers on one table was probably the cost of my rent for 1 month. It was insane. Next up is teaching lessons. So when I was in New York City, I was trying to get into the teaching game, of course, and I was working for an app, and I would be running around again, New York City or online, teaching lessons, basically $30 an hour. Here you can see a photo of me teaching a very, very wealthy child in her very, very nice room. But it just wasn't enough money and I didn't get enough work, so I didn't do that very long. The last kind of thing I did in New York City was I built a girl group. This girl group was meant to go on cruise ships, so we were going to be a guest entertainer. We never actually did that because the pandemic hit and that didn't work out. But in the meantime, we were doing just a around New York City. Here is a clip of one of the gigs.
Is it in his face? Oh no, that's just his tongue. In his warm embrace. Oh no, that's just his arms. If you wanna know if he loves you so, it's in his kiss. That's where it is. Oh yeah, it's in his kiss. That's where
though we made money for the gigs, I pretty much reinvested it right back into the project. So I did make like $100 per gig. Oh, something we did do. I just remembered this. We did try to busk in the subway, like right before COVID happened. We're like, let's busk in the subway because you never know who might discover us. It was actually really fun. We were getting like pretty big crowds, and we even made like $100 in 1 hour of cash. I really wonder what would have happened with that girl group if COVID never happened, because COVID really canceled that project. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Of course, I really wanted to be in an original band, and I did do some original bands in New York City where we did even sell out some of the venues. Here is a clip from one of the original bands I was in. And for these gigs, we would each make maybe like $30 or $40. But I would always give my pay cut right back to the band leader because I knew he was spending a lot of money on rehearsal spaces and recordings. And I was like, the $40 isn't going to do anything for me. Here, you just keep that. I was just happy to be a part of the project. Okay, so 2020 was obviously a very pivotal moment for me. All of my singing gigs got canceled. My girl group failed, and I felt like a loser. But during that time, I learned how to produce, and this opened up a lot of doors for me. The first thing I was able to do was start to sell my vocals. So I got an account on SoundBetter and started posting on TikTok, and I would get hired to sing vocals for people abroad. I did vocals for people in Scotland. I did vocals Australia, pretty much all over the world. I remember when I got paid my first time for it. I got paid $100 to record for a guy in Australia. And I cried. I was so happy because I just saw the future for me. I saw a new opportunity, and it just made me really happy. Where everything was canceled, it was just such a silver lining moment for me. I was doing those. And then I also, while I was learning how to produce and posting on TikTok, I thought, hey, let me try ghost producing. Maybe I would like producing for other artists. I did get an artist to produce for, and I think I was paid like $100 because I was brand new. And I really hated the experience. I decided I don't want to create songs for other people. I just want to create whatever songs I want to create. Very few people have the same work ethic that I do. So, they were canceling, not showing up, not really committing, wishy-washy. So I was like, no, I don't want to do producing for other people, but I do want to get paid to create music and to produce music. So that's when I had like this aha epiphany moment. I'm going to be a music creator. And I'm going to use my music to make content for music tech companies. This is where the real money started. The first thing I started doing with music tech companies was sample packs. And I've done sample packs now for a bunch of companies, including Soundtrack Loops, Splice, BandLab. And for these, I've made anywhere from $700. That was obviously my starting rate, all the way up to $5,000 for vocal packs and producing packs. You can even check out all of these packs on any of those sites. Splice is just sides, and on BandLab is actually totally free. So you should check out those. I might even link them in the caption. So yeah, sample packs, amazing. Able to sell some of my own packs, MIDI packs, and sample packs. You can see some of the pictures of those here. And then, of course, I've done a lot of video content for music tech companies. So for short form videos, I have made anywhere from $500 per video up to $6,000 for one video. In fact, that was my highest paying video. And when that company reached out to me to make the video for them, it landed in my promotions folder in Gmail, and I just happened to see it. Thank gosh, because I couldn't believe it. One 45-second video, $6,000. Since then, I've done videos for over 60 music tech companies. These are short form videos. For the long form videos like YouTube or YouTube integration, I've been paid anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 for the videos. I've also done a few videos like commercials for their channels where they will fly me out to their studio or they'll come to my studio. For those, I've just been paid a couple $1,000s for the day. They were ranging anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 for the day. So I also got back into my teaching roots. As you guys know, who've been following my channel, My mission is to make music production and entrepreneurship more accessible to more people. And teaching has just given me such great joy. I've figured out how to make more money than $30 an hour teaching, and that was by doing live classes. So when I first started doing live classes, you can see some pictures here. I was selling tickets for $25 to $35. I even partnered with some other teachers. I did a class with Greasy before and a bunch of other teachers. I should do some more live classes again. Let me know if you guys would come to a live class like that. But I was doing a bunch of those. And for those, depending on how many tickets I sold, in the beginning, I was maybe selling like 6 tickets a class, and then I was able to work my way up. I remember one weekend I was doing a social media growth class, and I wanted to keep the classes small. They were like 25 students, and I sold out 5 classes of 25 students for $25. And that was a big weekend for me. I was like, wow, I think I made like $5,000 that weekend teaching classes. I'll never forget that. That was a good weekend. Maybe some of you watching it were in one of those classes. It was my social media growth class. And then I started figuring out a way to get the brands to sponsor the classes. So for those, the brands would pay me $1,000 and then the class would be free. Because I really wanted to make the class free for you guys. Again, because of my mission, making music production and entrepreneurship more accessible to more people, I always wanted to keep that in mind when I was deciding my rates, because I wanted to make sure that you guys were able to afford these classes. And everybody can afford a free class, right? Yeah, so I started teaching. Now I've been paid to teach at colleges like ASU. I even went to Berkeley and taught there. Taught a bunch of remote colleges all over the world, and I love being able to do those. If it's a virtual class at a college, I'll usually make $1,000 a class, basically, or like $1,000 a day, and then they will pay for travel wherever I go. So that's typically how much I make for that. And then I'll make another video on selling digital products, because that has also opened up a lot of doors for me financially and been able to reach more people, because I've sold lots of digital products, from ebooks to courses to my own sample packs. So stay tuned for that video. So just to recap, as a cruise ship singer, I've made $3,600 a month. Nursing homes, I got paid $100 per hour. Bars and clubs, I've gotten paid $100 to $250 per gig, where I was performing 2 to 4 hours a night. Wedding band, I was getting paid $300 to $850 per gig. Casino gigs, I was making $100 to $250 per gig. And those gigs were very similar to the bar gig, usually 2 to 4 hours. Original bands, $30 to $40 per gig. And then my girl group, like $100 each per gig. Session singing, I was paid $100 to $300 per track. Ghost producing, $100. Now working with music tech companies. Sample packs, I've been paid $700 to $5,000. Sponsored short form videos, $500 to $6,000 per video. YouTube videos, $1,000 to $5,000. Teaching and education. Oh, this one's going back. So with the teaching classes, when I was doing it in New York City working for someone else, I was making $30 an hour. Live classes, depending if I sold my own tickets or working with music tech companies, $1,000 per class. Teaching at different colleges, $1,000 per class. So the big turning point for me is working with music tech companies. That's how I was able to become a full-time music creator, and I've made more money in the past 4 years than I could have ever imagined. If you're interested in learning how to work with music tech companies, I actually created a free 45-minute intro class on how to do this. And I'll put the link in the caption, but you can watch this class on your own time. It's totally free. I worked super hard on it, actually, this past weekend. I did all the editing and filming myself, and it was really hard. So I hope some of you do watch it, and I hope you find value from it. Please let me know if you have any questions. I do hope this video was helpful for you and that you're inspired. And if you are in a place where you are struggling financially and creatively, I have been there. I totally get it, but keep going, because your dreams are worth it. Don't sacrifice what you want to do and where you want to be in your extraordinary life. If I can find my weird little niche corner in the music industry, you can totally do this too. Believe in yourself and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.